Hey guys, it's me,
Hello,
Vinyl
hello.
Man Jebb. That's J.Edmond now, as I'm going by. Not J, just the letter Edmond, just J.Edmond. And this is Unlikely Places. Yeah, this is the new format. I have with me David Skaff, who was my manager for many years, still is, for my music, for everything I've done. And I have Matthew Graham with me, who was our editor for Unlikely Places for a while, and some of the other stuff we've been doing. And alongside Mason, who will be on a future episode as a guest, which is going to be cool. But for now, we're going to be just doing this new format. So bear with us as we get used to this new format and new things. And you're seeing our faces. This is technology for you.
It's an upgrade in the
Yeah,
new
it's
format here.
different, but something different. We wanted to kind of move into the podcast game and try something new and fresh. And I've been having big push into doing radio again since I got it as my actual day job as a radio host for the FMs here in Connecticut. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves first, David first and Matt, we could do it that way, and then we'll go
Hey,
into our first topic.
once again, thank you, J.Edmond,
Yeah.
for having me on this new format of this program, and so glad to be here. My name again is David Skaff, also known as the Noise Curator. Like Jay said, we have worked together on many things over the years, and I'm happy to be back here working on an internet radio program once again.
And Matt.
Hello, hello. My name is Matthew Graham. Thank you, J.Edmond, for having
Oh
me
yeah.
as well. Uh, like J.Edmond, I'm a musician, and I've also done a lot of work in radio. So it's gonna be great to add my input into the discussions and get chatting about music, which I do all the time either way. So
Perfect. That's why you're here. I love it. Well, Dave, if you want to do our first topic and shoot it off, we can go off you. So our first topic here was music history, talking about what's happened in September, in the rock world and in the music world. So I'll let you, Dave, I'll let you introduce that topic.
Cool. Yeah. So since we are recording this first episode in the month of September, talk a little bit about some of the things that happened in music history in the month of September. And going back to the 80s, and I believe it was September 4th, September 5th of 1983. So yeah, that was, a while ago, 41 years ago or so. On that day, the storied band, legendary band, The Clash, fired infamously Mick Jones. And the last album that Mick Jones was on, Clash album, was Combat Rock. So I think we're going to spin something from that in this segment. But
Yeah.
yeah, why that is an important bit of music history. The Clash starting in London in 1976 and dubbed the only band that matters. And they're a different style of punk that they put onto the music scene then. And the latter bands that came from that, the Mick Jones band, after he was fired in 1983, he then formed the band Big Audio Dynamite, and they had their first release in 1985. You guys have anything you want to add to that?
Sure. I mean, I found out about the Clash way later on in my life cycle. I think it was when I started collecting records, life cycle. Geez, I'm 25. What the?
What would you
Way
say?
later.
What is the first song that you remember hearing from the Clash?
Probably Rock the Casbah because that was like on every radio station growing up. I don't know if it changed. For me it was that song was probably the first that I've heard, and I've always known, of course, should I stay or should I, oh no, you know what, my brain, should I stay or should I go, because it was in Rugrats. That's because I'm, growing up with the movies and the cartoons of that, they put that song in there, and it shows how important television is growing up with the songs that they use for these bands and the publicity. And then I own Combat Rock, geez, on vinyl. It was the first, like one of the first like collector records I got, like knowing that I had to pay a little bit more for it because it was hard to get. But it was definitely fun. Matt, how about you?
uh, relating to what you were saying about movies, I believe probably the first time I sort of heard the Clash is probably, well, I'm thinking movies, I'm thinking Men in Black, but it wasn't Men in Black. It was probably the sample for Getting Jiggy with It. I think they sampled Rock the Casbah, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
And that was probably the first time I sort of heard them. And then of course, I listened to classic rock radio. I heard Should I Stay or Should I Go, which I absolutely love. Great tune.
Yeah,
Right.
so
So,
great stories, and for myself, I'm a little bit older than you guys. I was very into the Clash back then, and London Calling is kind of my first experience with the Clash, and has always been a favorite of mine.
And that album is probably one of the another sought after in record collections as well. I just remember going to
Absolutely,
vinyl
Rock
shows,
the
and those things are
Casbah,
expensive.
yeah,
All
yes,
those,
yeah. So
it's hard to get the Clash stuff, like especially the first pressings. It was always the first pressings, I think, on the Combat label. I think they actually had the Combat label, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Comment down below if I've got the labels screwed up here. But I remember
Yeah.
being that like you had to find them on certain labels, but made that really expensive for those first pressings, and the dead wax having like certain lettering in it that you had to like search after. But I wasn't like a big fan of them until a little like getting in really into them, because I grew up with the Beatles, the Stones, the Who. That was my only really big thing for music. And then and it skyrocketed since then, and we've always loved music. Kind of what made me become a musician was that there's so many wide genres. There's so many different choices when it comes to music, and the Clash are definitely up there on the level of like they made rock cool. Like they are definitely in rock history. When I took my class, the college course I just recently took, they were one of the major, like they had their own chapter because of how important they are to the punk scene and to that whole change
Yes,
in
there's
history.
the famous quote from Joe Strummer, of course: "Do music, we can live forever."
Right.
Yeah.
I
So
like
moving on, in other September music history, in 1995, September of 1995, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame opened. Uh,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
so and that's what is that now? Now almost 30 years ago. Of course, an important piece of rock history is the museum and the place where they honor so many
Right.
great bands over the years. And so in 1995, the inductees to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame included Al Green, the Allman Brothers, Janis Joplin, Led Zeppelin, Martha Vandellas, Neil Young, Frank Zappa, the Orioles, and Paul Ackerman.
Oh, we got Zappa's in there. Okay, all right. Apostrophe is reaching its like 50th anniversary now. I just saw the box for that. Neil Young, of course, too, with his Volume 3 archives coming out this year too. It's a lot of names there too. Al Green
I
too.
know
Jeez.
some
Yeah.
great musicians and bands. And in 1995, that was the 10th annual induction ceremony. They used to hold it at the Waldorf Astoria in New York, and then they opened their own museum and building, and that's where the induction ceremonies happen ever since.
Have you guys been to the Hall of Fame yet? I
I
never.
have not. That's a bucket list item for sure.
Same
Bucket list
here.
as well, for sure.
Yeah. Well, all three of us, we got to go. Now we just got to make it
Yeah,
happen. I think it's
yeah.
in Ohio, right? It's in
Yep.
Cleveland. Yeah,
Cleveland. Okay, it's in
yeah.
Cleveland. Yeah, my dad and I were gonna do a road trip, but then it just things happen, life happens, and you kind of tend to find different places your life takes you. But I definitely want to go there. That is definitely bucket list.
For sure.
Well, all right. So we just need to get sponsors to sponsor us going, so then we could talk about it on the show, and then we'll go. There we go.
Yes, and do an episode from there.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
There
That'd be
we go.
awesome. That'd be
That'd be a
awesome.
great episode.
It can happen.
Cool.
It can happen.
So that is our history segment
Yeah.
of this episode, and I think we have a couple other subjects we want to talk about. So Jay, why don't you lead the way?
Yeah, one of the things that I found like really most important to me lately, and just because I'm struggling with it, and I struggle to let people understand it too, is mental health, men's mental health, women's mental health, everything, just mental health in general. And I've been kind of having a discussion with a lot of people that they tend to listen to more podcasts when it's geared towards something they really care about. Because I was like always wondering how to run our show, and there's just so many radio shows, and unless you're kind of part of like when we were on Mad Wasp, I had a great time. We had a demographic, we had them, they wanted us, they wanted the music, they wanted that. But when the show went kind of on its own, it fell into the category, oh, it's just like another radio show. And so I always wanted to find something that really sparked to me, that made me excited to talk about, that I actually a little open about in honesty. And lately I just went through one of the worst ever, due to a hospital put in visit. I actually started having psychosis. I have never thought I'd ever have this before, and I'm sure a lot of people just don't talk about it. They're like, "Oh, it's just side effects. You move on." I was injected with an opioid that made me like literally lose my. I felt like a drug acid trip. Like it was really bad. I felt like my skeleton and my skin were two separate things. It was just terrible, and it's because of a hospital visit, not because I chose to take this or chose to do something. And I really just advocate people. My mom actually gave me a really good idea, and maybe some other people should do this as well. Make a list before you go into any ER, because you're not thinking. You're not thinking when you get put in the hospital. You're thinking, oh, I'm sick and they're going to help me. I'm in the best place possible. Have a list of like every medicine you're on, have a list of everything that you're taking, all the anything. Because they'll look at that and go, okay, we shouldn't have gave that drug. We shouldn't have gave them that, because I literally felt like I needed to run into the woods, bury myself underground, and disappear into the earth again. Like it was that bad. but it also gave me a lot of thinking time, and that worrying is just too much. It's not, I don't need it in my life, you know? And I don't know if you guys have suffered with any kind of just excess stress in your life that you go, why does this bother me so much? But it's present now, you know?
Yeah, there's such a
No,
spectrum, in mental health awareness, and it's brave of you, Jay, to people to
Yeah.
talk about that and bring that up. And I think that's so important, to share your stories of awareness, and it, may make it easier for other people, who
Right.
suffer. Yeah.
And Matt, how about you? I know you were.
oh, I've had my struggles, anxiety,
Mhm.
depression. I've had a lot of stress in the last 5 years. Mother passing away,
Oh,
other
sorry to hear that.
family members, close family members passing away. The COVID thing, I'm sure,
Right.
put all of us in a mode of stress and depression.
I
Yeah, I
definitely hear
gotta
that a
say,
lot.
man, I gotta say, I gotta give you props for, telling your story and put it out there because it's not easy. People don't really
No.
understand. It's not. It's a very very hard thing for people to understand if they're not going through it,
Right.
and it's just crazy.
I saw a great movie that kind of described a lot of the stuff I was going through recently, and I just got a quote. It's got Ben Stiller, Adam Sandler, some of these other big name, and it's not funny. It's not a comedy. It's a very serious movie. And Dustin Hoffman plays the father, and I was just watching it, and it watched it last night, and I thought it was gonna be a comedy. You know, I'm expecting it's Adam Sandler, it's Ben Stiller. It's like this is gonna be
Yeah.
the funniest movie I've ever seen in my, and it was very serious, and it addressed like molestation. It addressed like all these really high topics that no one wants to talk about when it's a family dynamic because everybody wants to keep the peace at home. And it had me thinking like we do hold in a lot from family dynamics because we want to make sure that everybody's accounted for, but where do we account ourselves in those things, you know? And that's kind of that movie inspired me to and if I remember the name, I'll put it down in the description or something. But it was a great film because it covered all those things very deep and dark. Like it was a lot more depressing than I expected it to be, but it opened up those thinking patterns of like I've been through it. I had a professor and issues with that at college. That's why I dropped out and stuff that I'm willing to talk about now. But during the time, I just wanted nothing to do with anybody. Isolation. It was 100%. And it's why I write music. And it's why, like, every time I say I'm going to quit music, I'm quitting the stressful side of it, which is the business side, the going live all the time and expecting to go live. And I'm sure there's other musicians out there that are the same, like, struggle
Oh,
because
to go
it's
with that,
tough, man.
that's why I haven't been doing a lot of live broadcasts because
Hmm.
I've had just really bad luck with technology. I was nervous about today too,
Ah,
and yeah, and I could totally see. Some might agree, but I do feel like most musicians, there's a little bit of something in us that's a little off that we need to, we use
definitely.
music to get by.
Yes.
And I know that's like that for me. And it's, yeah, I could totally see the business side is what stresses me out too. It's not even the, when I just play and I get into the music, I'm like, oh, that's
Right.
why I do this. But the business side and, just everything, the social aspect can be stressful at times too. So it's,
And that's why I liked having Dave as a manager, being able to strike that off. But not every musician's lucky. They don't have that manager level. They don't get that mentorship. They don't get the other side of it that says, "Hey, you know, maybe not take that gig because you're not seeing what I'm seeing. This is stressful, you know." And I had
Yeah, I
a
think
thing.
that's an important thing to bring up is,
Yeah.
reach out to people and don't
Right.
carry this all
Right.
yourself. And I think it's not just, musicians, it's artists of all type
Mm.
that may have this. And in fact, general populace, right? As you look at mental health issues as a spectrum, everybody is somewhere on that spectrum.
Honestly, 100%. I think it just never was talked about back when I'm sure Dave, with your being older, you probably witnessed a big change throughout all your periods of life, seeing that all of a sudden now it's more accepted. This time period is way more accepting than ever. And I can understand the dynamics from my parents' point of view and why I can kind of get along with them more than I ever did in the past is because now I'm like, oh, they didn't have the help I did. So of course they're not going to jump to understanding it immediately. And a lot of folks I think forget that, and now, you know, the just it's so bad. And lately, it's another thing untalked about. And now, you know, now they're even trying to silence the word suicide, you know, on alive yourself and all that stuff. I think that's damaging, more
I
damaging
agree.
than ever. Because now, yeah, I get why. Okay, it's a demographic. It's the young kids are on this platform, but young kids are the ones in need of the help because they're hurting and they don't know how to like hey, I'm going through something. I don't know how to word the right words because I know the word of what it is. why would I, and that for me is why I recently just posted that I'm done doing music, and I want to do a video instead of just posting, because
Yeah.
posts are going to be, oh, here he is again quitting, here he is, oh, he's going to be back in 2 weeks, I had to make a video because the last show I did, and I'm just not going to name anybody because I don't like to talk behind anybody's back. It's just never worth it. Never. I've learned that a long time ago, because they're going to keep doing shows. It's not going to change. But I know now to never sign up for a show where it's got 20 acts on the bill and you're not getting paid. And then you're having a mental health crisis. I should have just left. I should have gotten in my car and left. Nobody was holding me. I wasn't tied to a contract. That's what my dad said, the same thing. You should just left. But I was going through a crisis, and one of the other band members picked up on it that was playing in another band, came up to me and was like, dude, you need anything, I'm here for you. That guy's a hero. Because what if in that moment I wasn't strong enough? That guy could have saved my life. And I'm very thankful for that. But the fact that we had to get to that level is just dangerous. The fact that
if we continue to discuss this and normalize this,
yeah,
even though maybe some of the verbiage may be hidden, there are certain taboos about it, but normalizing open discussion of mental health issues, that is what will help the future generations.
100%. And it would help the past generations too if they were just open to it. They'd understand that people would actually not be mad at you or angry to say what you want to say. I don't think this thick skin is the answer. I've read some posts, and I actually told my dad, and it made him laugh. Thick skin is for folks that have to go through shit. But if you can avoid this shit altogether, which open discussion, talking with folks, telling when you're upset about something, and this is one thing I've always hated, was when people they might say they're suicidal all the time and it becomes a cry wolf thing. It's never, ever a cry wolf thing. That is a trigger. Something triggered the brain to feel that way. It's a trigger, then a response effect to that. And I've learned that, and I'm grateful to be alive every day. I am glad to have the career I have, the friends that I have, like you guys, and the people I've met. Some of these guests coming up on our show are going to be amazing. I mean, we already got like 6 people that have asked me already.
Yeah, maybe a promo,
awesome.
just a
Sure.
couple of those for our future episodes, Jay.
I mean, this is going to be a big one. We're going to be bringing Brian Aubert of Silver Sun Pickups on, which was insane.
That is a big one. I
did not expect that. Ken Stringfellow of the Posies. Yeah, we're going down the little bit, controversial route. I'm trying to get Drake Bell. I'm pushing, but that's not a guarantee. But my friend Hawa, who is my friend's mom, who helped me through a lot of stuff. She's a spiritual life coach. Thought it'd be kind of cool to bring her in the mix here and kind of mix it up with things, have her view on life, and we can, talk to her about that. I know we're kind of becoming the next Oprah show here, but there's 3 of us and we're dudes. So it's a little different.
Hope so. Yeah, right. So
we just don't have the money to give away cars.
Yeah, don't look under your seat. There's nothing.
Not everybody. In fact, nobody gets a car.
Yeah, nobody gets a car. Nobody. Just me, actually. Yeah. All the budget got spent on the car that I just got because I need it to travel for the show, So it's a tax expense.
Cool. Hey, so we have a little bit of time left, guys, and I think Jay, you had another
big one.
Wanted
big
to
one.
do.
Yeah,
so I wanted to make sure that we left enough time to discuss this.
Perfect. Yeah, we got 10 minutes left here on the Zoom. I just got the message there because I don't pay for Zoom yet until hey, if you guys want to support this show, we're gonna get a website soon, get it all figured out.
We would accept a sponsorship from Zoom.
We will accept so we could get Zoom without limit. Yeah. And we'll make a little longer episodes, but we'll start that Patreon trend where we start doing things for people if they pay us. But no, the biggest thing has just happened in history, which was something I never expected to happen. I kind of predicted it as this is my agenda planner with Oasis album tied to it. But yes, it's Oasis. They're coming back. I mean, they are back. The tickets are already sold, and the amount of memes about them breaking up before even the first show has had me laughing, every single one of them. But I mean, you guys got to kind of, I think, live during Oasis's time. I didn't. I came later to them, but
for sure, in the 90s, they were the biggest band in the world, right? And they're
the 90s Beatles at this point.
Yes, the infamously, the 2 brothers that couldn't get along. There's other examples of that, in music, and there have been lots of memes and jokes about that. But here they are, not together after taking, this huge hiatus as Oasis, and they did other things, but then they're back together and selling out their reunion 2025 dates in, just a matter of minutes, and once again, the biggest band in the world.
Right. And I heard from I thought I was going to try to get us Noel's bass player. I'm good friends with Tim from
Oh, that'd be
Jellyfish.
awesome.
I'm going to see if he'll come on the show in the future. But he was in Noel's High Flying Birds band. And I asked him, I said, are you on tour with them? He said no. But he did say that some of the other members from Noel's band are. So I believe the two guys from Oasis, the two backing guys, are not with them. I think it's the Noel's band that's
Mhm.
backing up the shows, which is still an incredible experience.
Yeah.
Because I actually just recently saw the bass player from Oasis with Ride, his band Ride, with the Charlatans UK in Boston. That was a trip, but
So the dates that they've sold out so far are all like UK dates, right? I mean,
yes,
they're playing the big places, Wembley. Um, I can't think of all the places
right,
in
but it's
the
all the
UK.
big ones. And
All
yeah,
the big ones, yeah, they play. Those are sold out. But I think that in one of the chat rooms I saw a couple of days ago that dates for the US have been leaked as
I have
well,
seen.
even though that hasn't been published yet.
They're not. Yeah, they're. I've seen the same. So I'm friends with Paul Davey, who runs the original Badfinger page, and he posted shared it and said not official, but it's been shared. He shared it. Other musicians I know shared it, dropping names, giving everybody. But there has been sharing of the leak, and I saw that Gillette was on there, which is where I saw the Stones. And if it's
Mhm.
not outrageous, I heard that people had to sell their kidneys for these tickets in the UK, though. There's a video of this guy. I shared it with my boss, Kevin Bagley of Star 99, and I shared it with him, and he was laughing too. But it was like this funny song with this guy just like singing about having to sell his kidneys because he's going to see Oasis. And he was doing it to the song "Roll with It," which is a great song.
Yeah.
And it was like I'll have to send it to you guys if I find it again. It was funny. But basically, it was expensive. I heard that the seats that should have been $100 in these small little venues were like 600, 700. I mean, that's the price of a new
Not
PS5 Pro.
not surprised, at that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but hopefully there will be some seats available for something more
Yeah, I'm
reasonable.
hoping. I'm hoping that we
Yeah.
all get a chance. I also saw memes of like this funny thing where this was like, what if you got your ticket? You couldn't get a ticket because you've been waiting to see Oasis since the 90s when they were
Oh
out,
yeah,
and you
yeah.
couldn't get your ticket because some girl got it because she just wants to hear the song Wonderwall. And I was just like, every concert goer's nightmare. Like if you're an actual fan of the bands, more than just the hit. But it's gonna be fun. I think this is gonna be an interesting time period. But we just had the giant flood in Connecticut, like one of the most historical floods in like biblical rain. And I was just coming back from the first ER trip, in this rain, and we had some massive damage here and stuff. And it was then Oasis comes out of the flood. I'm like, all right, I think that we must all died, and this is a new time period. I don't know what happened. Yeah, no, I'm excited for this. And I think Dave, you mentioned Radiohead is back too.
Yes, just 2
Wow.
days ago, Radiohead on their chat rooms and on social media said that they after they haven't toured for something like 7 years or so, and they've done other projects too, but they are back together rehearsing. So potentially a Radiohead tour for 2025 as well.
It is
Exciting
exciting.
music news for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, definitely excited for this new format, and very, very excited. We're going to get more organized for our next episode and get everybody a chance here. I think our next guest is going to be one of them from our list that we do, but we'll figure that one out. And you guys will stay tuned. This will be posted on our YouTube channel, and we'll keep everything on the same Unlikely Places channel, so you guys don't have to go crazy trying to find it, since we established that. And I think I'm going to try to look into using Buzzsprout to distribute this podcast on Apple and all the places it should be, so we can get an audience, and start studying our demographic, and then we could just sell out to our demographic and start
Fantastic.
pitching makeup
That's what you do.
tutorials because
Bigger
they're
and better
watching this.
things await.
It's exciting. But
For sure.
if anybody wants to say anything, Matt, if you want to go first, saying goodbye or whatever we want to do at the end here. So yeah.
Well, just want to say I'm glad to be part of this. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get more and more used to doing, I guess, being like a, I guess you could say MC and doing some DJing, and stuff.
Right.
So I'm just glad to be able to be on here, chat with you guys about music news and mental health, two issues that are definitely important to me, and
Awesome.
good stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna keep that topics going forward. I think we're always gonna keep the mental health section in because I could write a book upon the troubles that I have and willing to talk about. So definitely gonna keep that in, and music history too because it means a lot to us. It's why we're all together here and met is through the music world. And then we'll have a change of like pop culture stuff, whatever's current, and try to keep. We're gonna stay away from religion and politics because it doesn't interest me at all. Dividing people, all audiences are welcomed. That's what life should be. We're enjoying the talking of all that, and yeah. I'm honored to have this new format, as I was very tired of doing Unlikely Places by myself hosting wise, Matt has been a great help on the audio side for that. So it has been a dream come true to be able to do something like this, and Zoom makes it happen because we're not all in Connecticut. Dave's in California, and you're in Vermont, right, Matt? So
Yep.
we're all over the place. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in for the first episode of Unlikely Places Pop and Rock Radio show. Now it's actually the show. Yeah, the talk show side of it. So thank you, guys.